In today's live, I'm going to talk about what to do with your associations and how to categorize your associations, meaning how to categorize the people who actually get and receive your attention, how to categorize the people when you're managing your time, how to categorize who you spend more of your time with, who you spend less of your time with. And I'm going to show you some scientific evidence for you to be able to distinguish between all of that. Hey, Bernadette from Ireland. How are you? All right, so I'm going to show you how to distinguish from the associations, your associations, and why you should do it. And knowing this information will get you to have, make you happier, make you feel good more often, and help you achieve the things that you want to achieve, whether it's personal, business, or relationships. All right, so let me begin with the pun of the day. The pun of the day. If you read this book, you probably appreciate this. But how long did Cain beat his brother? Do you know? As long as he was able. Some of you might not know that, but some of you who read the book probably appreciate that pun. So let me go over three premises of. Now, every Sunday, I like to do videos on social dynamics. That's why I call it Social Sunday. So what categories do you put your associations in? What categories do you put your people you pay attention to? Let me give you three premises before I go over three categories. The three premises that will help you learn how to be rather than what to do. I would rather always prefer to help you teach you how to be, because how to be inevitably teaches you what to do and how to think. And how to think always teaches you the right things to do and the wrong things to do. So the first premise is that associations work harder on you than you work on your associations. Let me say that again. Associations are working harder on you than you are in your associations. Hey baby, how are you? Good to have you here for the second time in my life. So associations are working harder on you than you are on your associations. What does that look like? What does that mean? It means that it doesn't matter how strong, and I'm going to go over the second premise. So let me go over the second premise. Your environment is more powerful than your influence on your environment. Your environment is the core. It's related to the first premise. So the first premise is your associations are working harder on you than you are on your associations. Good watching you while I'm making breakfast. Miss you too. I miss you too. What are you having for breakfast? Tell me what you're having for breakfast. I'm interested. So the first premise is that associations are working harder on you than you are on your associations. The second premise is that environment has more influence on you, much more powerful influence on you than you are on your environment. So let me go over why that's important. Well, let me go to the third premise. The third premise is that feelings are derived from what we feel is derived from sensory cues from three things mainly. Mainly three things. How we feel in the moment, we get it from three main things. Banana and acai smoothie. Delicious. I bet you have some berries on there, Brie. So how we feel is derived from three main things. They are sensory cues from the environment, conscious thoughts, and unconscious thoughts. So how we feel, so there's a question, right? Do we feel first and then we think the thought? Or do we think the thought first and then we feel? We cause emotions. So science has found, enjoy your videos, Rone, and lifestyle skills. Keep them coming. Keeping them coming, Bernadette. I appreciate that sentiment. So how we feel, science has discovered that how we feel comes from how we think, comes from thoughts. Except that we get hundreds and hundreds of thoughts in every second, in every moment. There's no way for us to control the thoughts that we think. So how do we control that? I'm going to show you how to control that. So how we feel comes from how we think and the thoughts that we have. Hey, Christy, how are you? So we get thoughts from conscious thoughts and we get thoughts from unconscious thoughts. We can only process, neurolinguistic programming has discovered that we can only process 5 to 9 things consciously at any one moment. That's why the numbers are the way that they are. We have a certain amount of, for phone numbers, we have a certain amount of length in phone numbers because if we had more, it would be hard to remember it. So we can only process 5 to 9 things at any one point. Everything else we process unconsciously. For example, when we see a chair, we don't think, hey, it has 4 legs, it has a padding, and it has a back. Therefore, I can sit on it, therefore it's a chair. Those things you don't process. Those things you process unconsciously. You see it, you take the sensory cues. Sensory mean feel, touch, sight, smell, sound. Those are senses. So sensory cues, you take the sensory cues you see or hear or feel the object that is a chair. You don't think it's a chair, you immediately just process it without thinking about it. What does that mean? Okay, so we get feeling from those 3 things, right? So we feel from our environment, from our thoughts, and from our unconscious thoughts. When we are developing ourselves, when we are managing our state, which means we're managing our emotions, we're managing our thoughts, we only have one modality for most of us. Some of us who know neurolinguistic programming and know hypnosis, we have more control over our minds. For most of us, we only have one control over those 3 modalities. We only have control over conscious thoughts. We don't have control over sensory cues. You can't just close your eyes and close your ears and not see the environment, not have the sensory cues. And you can't control your unconscious responses. So the only thing you control when you are when you're crafting your will is only conscious thoughts. So the reason why your environment and your associations are more powerful influence on you than you are on them is because they are influencing you on 3 modalities: conscious thought, subconscious thought, and sensory cues. All of those are causing you to feel things. Do you see? But when you are trying to control your environment, you're trying to control yourself, you're trying to control your thoughts, you only have access to one modality, conscious thought. You say things to yourself, you control your thoughts, you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm not going to pay attention to that. But then your subconscious mind and your sensory cues are controlling everything else. And you have very little control. So what does that mean? It means you have to craft your environment. You have to craft your environment so that it is beneficial for you. Now, what does that transfer into in terms of your associations, meaning the people you surround yourself with, the people you pay attention to, the energies you pay attention to, whether it's personal, relationship, or business. There are 3 things you do with your relationships with people. The attention you give people. Number 1 is expanded association. Expanded association means there are some people that we want to pay more attention to. There are some people that we want to spend more hours with during the day that we're currently not spending more hours with. There's number 2 is limited association. There are some people we have to limit our time with. There are some people we have to limit our associations with. There are some people that we spend too much time with during the day that we have to limit time with them because they're less beneficial, they're a negative influence rather than a positive influence. The third, I appreciate that The third thing we do with our associations is dissociations. Dissociations, there are some people in our lives that we have to cut associations with. There are some people in our life that are more detrimental than anything. There are some people in our lives that we spend time with that we know we should not be spending time with, and the time we spend with them is detracting from the time we have to spend on the expanded associations category. So the three categories, right? Expanded association, there are some people that we need to spend more time with than less. Limited association, there are people that we need to spend less time with than more. And dissociations, there are people that we need to stop spending time with because they are detracting, they are an overall negative affectation on your life, and they're detracting from the time we can spend from either finding people we can expand associations with, or detracting time from people we could be spending more time with. Do you see? So why is that important again? Let me review the premise. Hey, Claire Bear. Let me review again the premise. The premise is that our associations are working harder on us than we are on our associations because of science. Our environment has more powerful influence on us than we can ever be in our environment. So we have to craft and create and design our environment. We have to design our room. We have to design our social media. We have to pay attention to how much time we spend on social media. We have to design the people we interact with on an ongoing basis. And the third aspect is, the third aspect of the premise is that the feelings that we get are derived from three main sources, which is sensory cues from your environment, conscious thought, and unconscious thought. When you are trying to influence your environment, when you're trying to influence other people, you only have the modality of conscious thought. The reason why your environment is more powerful influence on you is because they have the access to three modalities, and three very powerful modalities, which is your sensory cues, your conscious thought, and your unconscious thought. So they cause how you feel in the moment. They cause the feels. So if you appreciated that, click the like button, click the heart button, and leave a comment below if it helped out. Do you agree or do you disagree? I would love to hear your thoughts. Share this video if you appreciated it, and share it with people that might appreciate the video as well. I appreciate your attention, and I commend you for paying attention, expanded associations with positive ideas, positive thoughts that are worth spreading around. All right, I will talk to you on the next live Wednesday, which is Wealth Wednesday, also July 4th.